The sky roared like a wounded beast. Red lightning cracked above the jagged mountains. Acid rain hissed as it hit the black soil. Trees with razor-thin leaves shook, and beasts with glowing eyes moved silently through the jungle. But Vecra did not run. She stood on a high cliff, her dark skin shining with rain, her sharp eyes watching the horizon. This was her world. It was called Zarn 5 by outsiders, but to her, it was just home. A death world, the kind of place other species feared. And she was the last of her kind. Vecra was born strong. Her people were warriors, survivors. But one by one, the storms, sickness, and alien invaders took them. Now, only she remained. She hunted alone, slept in trees, fought off predators twice her size. No one dared come near her, not even the native beasts. Until now, a flash lit up the sky. Not lightning, something else. She narrowed her eyes. It was a ship, and it was falling. The ship crashed far from the cliffs, deep in the jungle. A black column of smoke curled into the sky. Vecra felt a chill not from fear, but something deeper. A strange feeling she hadn't known in years, curiosity. She moved fast, leaping across rocks, diving under branches, avoiding thorns and poison vines. Hours passed, but she reached the wreck, and she stopped cold. Something was crawling out of the metal, not a beast, not one of the soft-skinned diplomats or robotic scouts. It was something new, a tall figure, covered in dark armor, limping, but alive. It removed its helmet, a human. Vecra had only heard stories. Humans were rare here. Rumors said they came from another death world. Earth. Some said they were violent. Others said they were clever and kind. She didn't believe in stories, but this one stood with fire in his eyes. His leg was injured. Blood ran down his side. But he smiled. He smiled while surrounded by danger. She watched from the trees. A black-furred beast, with 8 legs and bone-like claws, crawled toward him. The human didn't panic. Picked up a metal rod from the wreck, gripped it tight, and waited. The beast leapt. The human moved. Fast, he ducked, rolled, and stabbed the rod straight into the beast's mouth. It screeched and died. Vecra blinked. Her heart beat faster. This was no normal creature. He had instincts, but more than that. He didn't fear the world. Not like the others. He walked toward the wreck and sat down. His breathing was heavy, but still, he looked up at the sky and whispered, "Hell of a landing." Vecra stayed hidden, but her claws were already shaking. She had trained her whole life. She had fought alone for years. She had thought no one could survive here like her. But now, a stranger had fallen from the stars and killed a Zarn beast with nothing but scrap metal. He wasn't running. He wasn't afraid. He was like her. That night, Vecra sat in a tree. Above the crash site, the fire from the wreck flickered. The human had made a shelter from broken panels and wires. He was trying to cook meat from the beast he killed. It would poison him. She knew it. But he just shrugged and sniffed it. "Smells like burnt socks," he muttered. Then he took a bite. Vecra's eyes widened. He chewed, coughed, laughed. Kept eating. He's insane, she thought. Or maybe, maybe he's something else. She dropped from the tree silently. Her feet touched the ground without a sound. She stepped closer, closer, just enough for her voice to reach him. "You should be dead," she said. The human froze. Slowly, he turned his head. He didn't reach for a weapon. He smiled again. "I hear that a lot," he said. "You gonna kill me?" Vecra stepped out of the shadows. Her eyes glowed faintly in the firelight. "I don't know yet," she said. The human chuckled. "Fair enough. What are you?" she asked. He looked her straight in the eye. "Name's Cole. I'm just a guy who doesn't die easy." She narrowed her gaze. "Where are you from?" "Earth," her breath caught. "Earth? The second death world." Her lips trembled as she asked, "One final question. Are there more like you?" He grinned wide. "Well, yeah, millions." Vecra's world spun. She wasn't alone. Not anymore. The fire crackled softly as night deepened on the death world. Shadows danced across broken ship metal, twisted trees, and the two strangest beings on the planet Vecra. The last native Deathworlder, and Cole, the human who smiled at monsters. Neither spoke for a while. Vecra stood across from him, tense like a coiled spring. Her fingers twitched near her hip blade. Cole, calm and dirty, simply leaned back and stared at the stars, chewing on another piece of poisoned meat. "Still not dead?" he said with a grin. "Either I've got a stomach of steel, or this place is messing with me. Shouldn't have survived the beast," Vecra replied coldly. "Its claws can shred stone." "Yeah, well, I've got worse scars from cooking accidents." Didn't understand the joke, but his tone had no fear in it. That disturbed her. Vecra had lived her whole life watching the fear in others. Even her own people, back when they still lived, showed it. Fear of storms, fear of sickness, of dying alone. But this man didn't even fear her. "You're reckless," she said sharply. "You'll die within days." Maybe Cole shrugged. "But at least I'll die doing something." Vecra scowled. "Doing what?" "Burning meat and bleeding out," he said, then turned to her, meeting the last of his species. That stopped her. "Don't act like you weren't watching me from the trees before," he added casually. "You could have killed me any moment. You didn't." She looked away, jaw tight. "Why?" he asked. She didn't answer at first. Then her voice came low and heavy. "Because for the first time in years, I saw someone not afraid of this world." Cole stared at her, quiet now. Then, "Want to team up?" "What?" "You know the land, I've got tech barely. Together, maybe we figure a way off this rock. Or at least don't die too stupidly." Vecra crossed her arms. "I don't need you. Maybe not, but you followed me here. You watched. You're curious." Her eyes narrowed, glowing in the firelight. "Curious doesn't mean I trust you." Nodded. "Good. I don't trust me either." She tilted her head. "You joke too much." He gave a half smile. "That's what humans do. Laugh at death. Kind of annoying that way." Vecra's stare softened, just slightly. "I'll camp here tonight," she said. "If you die in your sleep, I'll take your supplies." Grinned. "Fair deal." Later, Cole drifted into a light sleep inside the ruined shell of his pod. Vecra sat in a tree nearby, watching. Always watching. That night, the wind howled louder than before. A deep rumble moved through the jungle. Something big, bigger than anything that had hunted her. Before Vecra's ears perked, she dropped to the ground in one silent motion and scanned. The jungle line. Red eyes blinked in the dark. A new beast, something she didn't recognize. Something ancient it hadn't. Come for her. It had come for him. She gritted her teeth and leapt back to the pod. Cole was already half awake. "Something's out there, isn't it?" "Yes," she said quickly, drawing her blade. "And it smells you." "You sure it's not the food I burned?" "No," she growled. "It's the scent of something not from here. Guess I made a big impression, huh?" She didn't smile. "Stay behind me." "You sure? You barely know me?" Vecra turned to face him fully, eyes glowing like twin moons. "You're the first being I've met who looks at death and smiles. That makes you either insane or like me." A branch cracked. The red eyes moved closer. Cole stood beside her now, two Deathworlders, back to back, waiting for what came next. The beast was gone. It didn't attack, it watched, red eyes glowing from the jungle, and then it vanished into the dark. Like it had simply changed its mind. Vecra had never seen anything like that before, and for the first time, she was glad. She wasn't alone. By morning, Cole was awake and limping again. He'd torn a muscle in his leg from the crash, and he didn't hide the pain. But he didn't complain either. He just grit his teeth, fixed his makeshift bandage, and laughed. "No," he said, "I've had worse. I once slipped on a wet floor back home and cracked my skull. This jungle feels like a massage in comparison." Vecra sat across from him, sharpening her blade on a piece of alien bone. "Humans are strange," she muttered. "Thanks," he replied, smiling. "That wasn't a compliment." Didn't sound like one. Silence followed, but it wasn't cold. It was the kind of silence where two dangerous beings begin to understand each other. Later they moved together, not as friends, not as enemies, but as something in between. Cole couldn't move fast, but he was clever. He used vines for traps, made noise to scare predators away, and even found water she'd never noticed before. "You don't smell it?" he asked, crouching beside a moss-covered rock. Vakar frowned. "Smell what?" "Hole." Water rushed up from the ground. Clean, cold. "I thought only my kind could do things like this," she whispered. He looked up, grinning. "Guess you're not that special after all." She didn't smile, but she didn't kill him either. That night, they camped beneath the roots of a fallen tree. Firelight danced between them. Cole finally asked the question that had burned in his mind since the day he saw her. "What happened to your people?" Vecra was quiet, her eyes lowered. "They died. All of them." She nodded. "War sickness. Outsiders came. Talked. Peace. Brought poison. Machines. Traps. We fought. We lost." Cole looked at the sky. "Sounds familiar? We had wars like that too. People calling themselves heroes while burying cities." Vecra's hands trembled slightly. "I was a child when it happened. I survived because I ran. I was too weak to fight. I hated that, so I trained. I lived in caves, slept in trees, fought monsters twice my size. And every night, I cursed the stars." Cole looked at her, really looked this time. Not as an alien, but as someone. It's broken, just like him. "You think survival means strength?" he said softly. "But sometimes it just means you kept going when everyone else didn't." She turned away. "That sounds like a weak excuse." "No," he said, shaking his head. "It sounds like you were a kid forced to become something hard." She looked at him again. His hands were scarred. His arms were bruised. But his eyes, they were warm. It made her chest ache. Because no one had looked at her like that. In years. Not with pity, but with respect. Suddenly a growl echoed from the trees. Second, then a third. They both stood instantly. From the shadows came a pack of bonehounds. Fast. Silent killers with split jaws and needle tails. Even Vecra looked uneasy. "We can't outrun them," she said. "I wasn't planning to," Cole replied. He picked up a broken spear he made earlier and nodded to her, back to back again. She hesitated, then stepped behind him. "Try not to die this time," she whispered. He smirked. "No promises." The bonehounds lunged. Two warriors moved as one, and the jungle burned with the sound of fury. The ground was painted red. The bonehounds lay still, their twisted bodies scattered around the old tree. Smoke rose from Cole's burnt sleeve. Vecra's arm bled from a bite that nearly tore muscle. They stood breathing, silent, alive. Again, together, Cole wiped his blade clean with a leaf. "Tell me those things don't respawn." Vecra's legs shook beneath her, but she gave a small breath of laughter. "Not unless the gods hate us. Let's not test them." They didn't speak much after that. Their wounds were deep. Their energy drained, but something had changed between them. Vecra no longer moved 5 steps ahead. She stayed beside him. They found a cave hidden behind thick vines. It smelled like sulfur and old bones, but it was dry, warm, and safe. Cole collapsed near the entrance. Vecra dropped beside him, trying not to show her pain. "I'm not gonna lie," Cole said, breathing hard. "I thought that last one had." "Me. I thought you'd scream," Vecra admitted. "I did," he chuckled, but only inside. She tore a strip from her cloak and wrapped it around his arm. He winced. "You always that gentle?" "No, didn't think so." She cleaned her own wound next. Quiet, focused. He watched her, puzzled. "Why do you keep helping me?" Shh. Didn't answer at first, then softly, "Because I no longer feel like the last of anything." That hit him like a stone. The next day, they hunted together. But it wasn't like before. They moved like a pair now. She signaled with her eyes. He understood. He distracted the prey while she delivered the silent kill. It was almost easy, And for the first time, Fiorkra let herself laugh. Only once. Only for a moment. But it was real. That evening, while Cole fixed a broken lens from his helmet, Fiorkra sat cross-legged, watching him. "You said there are millions like you," she began. "Yeah," he replied. "Humans are everywhere. We're curious, stubborn, loud, and all strong." He paused. "No, not all. Some are weak, some are cruel, some give up. But not you. I've lost a lot," he said, voice low. "People I cared about, places I called home. I don't want to lose anyone else." Vecra stared at him. That sadness. She had felt it too. "I was told once that Deathworlders can't love," she said. "That we are too cold, too cruel. That we only survive," maybe Cole said. Leaning closer, "But I think love is survival." She blinked. That idea. She had never considered it before. Later that night, they lay beside the cave fire. The jungle outside hissed with sound, but inside it was strangely calm. Vecra sat up suddenly. "Your scent has changed." "My what?" "Your body, it's adapting. I can smell it. You're changing to survive here." Cole grinned. "In training, huh?" She looked serious. "No, not in training. You're already becoming one," he laughed. "So what now? I get a tattoo or a secret name?" She didn't smile. She took something from around her neck. A fang, sharp, black, ancient. "This was from my brother. He gave it to me the day he died in battle." Cole's face grew serious. "You sure you want to give me that?" She held it out. "You've earned it. You fight like us, bleed like us, think like us. You may not have been born on this world, but this world has claimed you." He took the fang. Gently, his voice lowered. "Thank you." Vecra nodded once. "Now we are bonded. It's Deathworlders. Not alone anymore. And for the first time." She smiled, not because she had survived another day, but because now she had someone to survive for. The jungle was quiet, too quiet. Vecra felt it first, tightness in her chest. It's the kind of silence that doesn't come from peace, but from something watching. Something new. She froze mid-step. Cole, who was trying to climb a ridge behind her, paused too. "What is it?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. Then she pointed up toward the gray morning sky. There. Cole squinted. 3 faint dots hovered above the jungle. It's too small to be beasts. Too smooth to be natural. Then one of them blinked. Not lights, not stars. Drones. Within minutes, the forest began to change. Birds scattered. Trees groaned, and from above, a piercing hum filled the air. Vecra grabbed Cole by the arm and pulled him into the shadows beneath a thick root bed. She whispered, "Scouts, not native, not friendly." Cole nodded. "You think they're looking for me?" "They're not here for me," she growled low. "They're not here by accident." Then the airship descended. Sleek, silver, marked with a strange alien crest neither of them recognized. A voice echoed through the jungle, cold and robotic. "Attention, human life form identified. Stand down, assistance inbound. You will be retrieved." Cole whispered, "That doesn't sound like help." Vecra's claws twitched. "That's not a rescue ship, that's a hunter's voice." They both backed away from the landing zone as figures stepped out. Not soldiers. Not diplomats, collectors, tall aliens in clean armor. Their skin pale and thin, their eyes like glass. One of them lifted a scanner and pointed directly at Cole's last campfire. They began to move. Hours later, Vecra and Cole watched from a ledge. As the collectors set up a forward base near the wreck of his ship, Cole looked uneasy. "Why now? How did they find me?" Vecra's voice was quiet. "Someone was always tracking your pod. Just hit the ground too hard for them to catch." "Up," he shook his head. "So they waited. Until I made noise. And now they've come to take you back. Dead or alive." Cole swallowed hard. "And you." She looked at him. "To them, I'm nothing. A native. A threat. A body for study." His jaw tightened. "Not happening." Vecra's eyes flickered. "You would fight them?" "For me, he didn't hesitate. I'd fight anything for you. That stopped her. No one had ever said that to her, not even her people. That night, collectors released sent drones into the jungle. Horrid things, small, buzzing, and filled with memory scent. Data. They could track Cole's blood, his sweat, his breath. Vecra stepped in front of him and pulled a bone vial from her satchel. "What is that?" he asked. "Swamp leech oil," she said, rubbing it on her own skin, then his. "It masks scent. Tastes like rot. Smells worse." Cole gagged. "I believe you." They moved through the darkness like ghosts, following trails only Vecra knew. Ancient tunnels carved by her ancestors, hidden in thick vines and twisted roots. The drones searched above, but they found nothing. At last, they reached an ancient sheltura, black stone ruin hidden behind a waterfall. Here, Vecra had once buried her brother. Now she would hide the only being she couldn't afford to lose. Cole looked around. This place, it feels like a tomb. Vecra knelt beside a mossy altar. It is. Cole placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "I'm not leaving this world without you." She turned. Her eyes weren't cold now. They were soft. "Then we fight together." He nodded, but far above them in the collector's ship, a screen lit up Cole's face, blinking red, and one of the alien hunters whispered, "We found the last Deathworlder. But there are two of them now." The collectors moved fast, too fast. Their drones had scanned the jungle. Their ship's sensors had locked onto the last heat trail, just seconds behind. Now they were close. Too close. Deep inside the waterfall cave, Cole and Vecra gathered. What little they had, scraps, bones, vines, old stones, weapons made from nature and instinct. "This won't stop them for long," Cole said, checking his makeshift spear. Vecra's eyes glowed in the cave's darkness. "We don't need to stop them forever. We just need to survive long enough." Cole smirked. "You always talk like death's around the corner." She nodded. "That's because here it is." Then they heard it. A high-pitched whine. Metal footsteps. Voices speaking in code. Confirmed. Human target inside. Prepare for extraction. Vecra grabbed Cole's arm. "They want you alive." He grabbed hers back. "They won't get either of us." The cave exploded with noise. Two collector soldiers entered from the front. Smooth-skinned, long arms, guns glowing blue. Behind them, a seeker drone hovered. Ready to paralyze, Cole moved first. He didn't wait. He didn't plan. He charged. The spear broke on impact. But the shard in his hand found flesh. He jammed it into the collector's throat. The alien gurgled, dropped. The second raised its weapon snap. A vine trap pulled it off the ground, slamming it into the roof of the cave. The seeker drone fired, but Vecra had already leaped. She crashed into it, claws slashing metal and sparks flew. It fell in pieces, but it wasn't over. A sound like thunder shook the cave. The collector leader arrived twice the size of the others, armored like a tank, with a plasma blade in one hand and a net gun in the other. Cole raised his fists. "You want me? Come get me." But the alien didn't attack him. It turned to Vecra, specimen, uncatalogued predator. Body value, high. Vital capture required. It fired the net too fast. The net wrapped around her, pulsing with energy. She screamed. Electric shocks tore through her body. She fell hard. Cole's eyes went wide, and something inside him snapped. He didn't think. He ran, straight into the armored giant. It didn't matter that he had no weapon, no shield, no plan. What he had was rage. Deathworld rage. He grabbed the plasma blade, forced it sideways. The collector turned confused. No human should be that strong. But Cole was no longer just human. This world had shaped him. He kicked the alien in the chest, tearing the blade free, and rammed it into the weak spot behind its neck. The alien twitched, then collapsed. Smoke rose. Silence returned. Cole dropped to his knees beside Vecra. She was barely breathing. Her body twitched with small shocks. He ripped the net off, ignoring the burns on his own hands. "Come on," he whispered. "Don't do this." Her eyes fluttered open barely. "You came for me," she whispered. "Always," he said. She smiled through the pain. "Then we're not like the others." "No," he whispered back. "We're something new." He picked her up in his arms, even though he was weak, even though he could barely stand. But he carried her, because the world might have tried to break them, but together they were unbreakable. Far above, inside the collector ship, red alarms flashed. "Priority target has breached containment. Human threat level reclassified. Deathworld Prime." The sun rose over the jungle, casting red light across the smoking ruins of the cave. Vecra lay weak but alive in Cole's arms. Her body still trembled from the shock, but her eyes, her fierce, proud eyes, were locked onto the sky. "They'll come again," she whispered. Cole nodded. "Let them." He stood now, taller than before, not just in body, but in spirit. His arms were bruised, his skin burned, but he carried Vecra like a soldier carrying his flag. Behind them, the collector leader's body smoldered there. They didn't run. They walked forward toward the place where death had tried to break them and failed. Days passed. The jungle watched. No, more beasts attacked. Even the bonehounds stayed away, because the jungle knew something had changed. The girl who once survived in silence had found her equal, and the man who fell from the stars had become something more. Together, they reached the mountain cliffs again, the same place where Vecra had first spotted Cole's ship falling from the sky. Now, they stood side by side, her hand in his. "Are you sure you want to leave this world?" she asked softly. Cole looked at her. "Only if you come with me." She tilted her head. "What will I be on your world?" He smiled. "What you are now, my equal, my partner, my reason." Vecra's heart, once hardened by years of survival, now felt something. Warm, soft, real. They activated the beacon from Cole's damaged pod. But not for rescue, no, for warning. A message broadcast into space. This planet is no longer alone. Deathworlders live here, and we are not prey. Weeks later, a human scout ship landed. The crew was shocked to find both Vecra and Cole alive. Even more shocked to see them standing together, scarred, armed, and smiling. "Sir," one of the scouts said to Cole, "we didn't think anyone could survive out here." Cole looked at Vecra. She gave a faint smirk. "Then you don't know Deathworlders." On board the ship, Vecra stared at Earth through a viewport. Her heart beat faster. "Is it really like my world?" she asked. Cole stepped beside her. "It's worse. We've got traffic, pollution, and something called karaoke nights." She blinked. "It sounds dangerous." He laughed. "Fit right in." She touched the glass. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel like the last of her kind. She felt like the first of something new and far away. In the dark corners of the galaxy, rumors began to spread. There is a planet where monsters live. One born from fire, the other born from stars. They walk together. They don't fear death. Death fears them.